Welcome to the Political Matrix News. Politics, people, local, regional, national news. Political Matrix News keeps you informed. We have the sources, we have the truth from inside the Political Matrix. Well, the Political Matrix blogcast continues. Rob Milford in Orlando, Scott Miller. Wave at everybody, Scott. He's in Pensacola. That would leave the remaining chap huddled behind his microphone as, I was going to say, Greg Abbott. That's, I was so close to saying Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott's the governor of Texas. That's Greg Fink. And Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. And It's hard to say how things are going really with him on the border. But the Supreme Court, or at least one member of the Supremes, is on Greg Abbott's side, I think, because the Senate bill passed in Texas allows for all peace officers, badge toters of whatever persuasion inside the state of Texas. That's the Texas DPS, Department of Public Safety, the state troopers, if you will. That is the sheriffs of all 256 counties and their deputies. Those are the police officers in all 934 cities and towns and villages that have police departments. And it's also try this now, a level that you don't get really anyplace else, which are constables. And constables work for the justices of the peace. And they serve summons and warrants and all sorts of stuff. They're sort of the guys who, it's kind of like being a police officer, kind of. But they do traffic stops, raise revenue for the court system in the different cities and towns and such like that. So you got a lot of cops in Texas. You also have a population that's 31 million now, which is shocking. When I moved there 45 years ago, the population was not even 15 million. So it goes. Talk about what's going on at the border. The Abbott wants to have his guys be able to arrest people, and yet one
Supreme Court says no.
Do that.
Yeah, the Supreme Court right now is putting it on hold. They have blocked it until they are. Samuel Alito has blocked it for currently until they do a reevaluation on the looking at the law a lot deeper, and they put a stay on it until March 18th. And so by the time of our next podcast, we will have a decision on whether or not Abbott's gonna, be able to succeed at this, or it's going to be stalled forever until some more legislation comes out. And so right now it's everything's up in the air. I do think that's very dangerous to be doing that. Right now, we have a very serious issue down there in Texas and the border, and it needs to be taken care of. The state needs to be able to protect itself, period. The fact that they cannot protect themselves, and the federal government is saying that a state is not able to keep itself safe is just bizarre. We're not talking about, just some sort of illegalities. We're talking about people coming in from one country to another country illegally, without permission, without any sort of organization, without any sort of rule of law, and with no methodology of seeing who's safe, who's criminal, who's not criminal, who's bringing what kind of disease or not bringing a disease over. We won't know anything. And the whole idea that they're blocking the state from keeping their residents safe is ridiculous.
It really is. Don't forget that the president, in his State of the Union speech last week, I kind of danced around Lincoln, the girl killed at the University of Georgia by an illegal alien who had been previously thrown out of the United States, and then he got in trouble with the Democrats referring to him as an illegal alien. What's the terminology they wanted used?
Undocumented.
Okay.
Well, actually, no, newcomer. It's a newcomer now. It's not illegal. It's not undocumented. It's a newcomer.
Right. That's mean like the drug dealer that you pick up your the weed, the dope from. That means that drug dealer is an unlicensed pharmacist. Is that the equivalent?
No, he's a newcomer drug dealer.
So something similar to that, and I know that President Biden in the was it in the State of the Union where he called the girl Lincoln? I don't remember. I don't remember. That was funny. That was funny because it was horrible for the parents, and I just feel for them.
Yes,
it just shows you how what an epic fail it is. He's sitting there trying to look like he's engaged in something that he could not possibly care less about. He's but I want to walk back to my only heartburn about this, and I'm completely supportive of the concept, but they got to find a better way to do it because, I'm going to probably kind of have to support the Supreme Court when they shoot him down because he is exceeding his authority, especially when there are ways that he could do the exact same thing within Texas state law. Like he could create a buffer zone, a buffer easement for every piece of property along the border, and say there's no trespassing there, or create a criminal trespassing statute of some kind. And then they have every right in the world to arrest them because they're not charging them with a federal crime. They're going to charge them with a state crime.
Okay, well, it should be a state crime to be in the state illegally. I mean, I'm sure in Texas they have a law
except for
that
darn Constitution keeps keeps popping up.
Yeah. I think the issue there is you're in the United States illegally, but Scott's onto something. He could declare no trespassing. That brings in an entire new. Wait a minute. That brings in an entire new special group of law enforcement people. You have a stock agent from the Texas Cattlemen's Association. They have their. I'm serious. They have their own police force. They have pretty much unlimited police power when it comes to involving cattle and livestock. And their primary gig, of course, is rustlers, and they still have a bunch of them even in 2024. But everybody's image of a Texas Ranger with in the boots and the hat and the big pickup truck, those are the stock police, and they could, hey, you're trespassing on our cattle property here. Boom, that's it.
Yeah,
throw you in a horse.
That'd work.
Yeah, there's all sorts of ways to skin that cat. They just got to stay within the law. The problem that I have with them trying to manipulate the Constitution in ways that it really wasn't intended to be is that the weapon that you create today to battle the ultimate evil is going to turn around on you later when someone decides that you're the ultimate evil. It's something the Democrats really don't realize as they're trying to prosecute Trump. It's the exact same thing.
Oh, let's talk about Trump. The judge in Georgia today, which is Wednesday. And the judge basically booted a half a dozen out of the 92 charges total, booted at least 6 of them, 3 of which go directly to Trump. I have not been able to get a clean. Everybody's like, oh, Trump's exonerated. No, they dropped 3 out of about 41 charges that Trump is named specifically. Now, Fannie, I always call her Fannie, but it's not. It's Fannie, and Miss Willis, the prosecutor for Fulton County, which is Atlanta. She is basically iced out at this point while they figure out what to do with her because she has, as I said to a judge one time, this officer has no veracity. I think that was speaking over the head of that judge in Pittsburgh traffic court. And he trusts what the cop says, not this smooth talking guy. So she has no credibility anymore, and that's a real problem. And will they just drop everything? Oh no, we can't drop everything because we can't come back and charge him again. That would anyway. We'll see how that turns out.
Well, the way that's going to play out, though, is they're going to use and in the stories that I read about it, what they're going to do is if she gets forced to recuse out of it, then they're going to have to put it into one of the other district DAs, and they're lining up to get the case so they can drop it.
Right. Yeah, because I think it dropped to 3 out of the 13 felonies for Georgia. Because all the 91 indictments are not in Georgia. That's in, I think, 4 different states combined. I think in Georgia, they got like 41 indictments in Georgia alone.
No. There were 90-ish charges against Trump and the 17
Georgia
people.
Alone. Wow.
41 of those were specific to Trump. And, 12 of them should have been booted.
Okay, that's right,
the legal team is going after this specific set. 3 for Trump, 3 for the rest of the group. And again, I mentioned this a couple of weeks back. I feel for the others of the group, others of the 18 who don't have any money. They're worker bees. Okay? And they have already done their plea deal. I feel just terrible for them. but they succumb to pressure. So we will succumb to the pressure of the clock and take a break right here. This is the Political Matrix Blogcast.